You know the feeling, don't you? That all too familiar ache that pops up mid-run and makes you question everything. One week, it's a sharp protest from your knee. The next, a dull, angry throb in your lower back. You're following the plan, logging the miles, you're foam rolling until you can't feel feelings anymore. And yet the cycle just keeps going. Run, get fit, get fast, start getting faster, get hurt. It's a loop that wrecks more running goals than anyone else. Man, I feel you. I see it. And as we're over the age of 35, we're feeling it even more. I've been there. But what if the key to breaking the cycle wasn't about running more or stretching more or even dropping cash on a different shoes? And I've talked about shoes a lot recently. What if the secret to building a truly resilient, injury-proof runner's body is that weird-looking weight sitting in the corner of your gym, or the one that keeps getting promoted for home gyms? I love them. In the next couple of minutes of this video, I want to show you the 3 kettlebell moves that will build a body that can handle the miles so you can train consistently, crush your goals, and finally run injury-free. This isn't about getting huge or spending hours in the weight room. I get it. I don't want to do that. No one wants to do that. This is about using one simple tool to forge a stronger, more stable frame for that running engine you've been working so hard to build. Before we even touch a kettlebell, let's talk about a big problem most runners have. As runners, we are incredible at one thing: moving straight ahead. We build powerhouse cardio engines and some serious mental grit. But running is, by its nature, a high-impact, repetitive, forward-only activity. Think about it. Thousands of steps, all in a straight line for the most part. This pattern builds really strong quads, but it often completely ignores the real powerhouse muscles, the posterior chain, which I talk about in your hips and your glutes in this video. And that's just the fancy name for all the muscles on the backside of your body: your glutes, your hamstrings, and your lower back. This is your true engine. These are the muscles that propel you forward, keep your pelvis stable every time your foot hits the ground, and hold your posture together when you get tired. When these muscles are weak, your body finds a way to cheat. And I know you cheat. Your body cheats. Your quads and your hip flexors take over, your lower back gets strained, and your knees absorb way more stress than they should. This is where almost every common running injury is born from. From IT band issues to runner's knee, the answer isn't to stop running, though. The answer is to build a body that can actually handle the stress. And this is where the kettlebell becomes a runner's best friend. And you're my best friend, so I want you to have the other best friend, which is kettlebell. So why a kettlebell and not just a dumbbell? It's all about its unique shape. That offset center of gravity where the weight sits away from your hand is the magic. It forces all those small, stabilizing muscles to wake up and work overtime just to control it. It doesn't just build raw strength, it builds functional stability that translates directly to the chaos of what is running. Kettlebell training is also incredibly efficient. With just one tool, we can pack strength, power, and cardio into a short, efficient workout. It teaches your body to work as a one solid unit, connecting your core and your hips to your hips and your legs. And we're all about efficiency. I'm a mom, I own a business, I run, I see patients, I'm busy. We need the most efficient workouts to be able to do what we love, which is running. And I don't want to spend hours in the gym, so I like efficient workouts. And this, with kettlebells, this is how you build a body that doesn't just survive the miles, but actually thrives on them. This is how you become a bulletproof runner. And that's what we're all after. I don't want to just survive my miles. I want to get better. I want to improve, but improving with my running doesn't happen with just my run. It happens with strength training too. So in this video, I want to talk about, we're going to hit the 3 foundational movements that I think all runners should work on. Each one is a direct solution to a major weakness in a runner's body that we deal with. If you master these 3 workouts or these 3 exercises, then you'll completely change your relationship with injuries and with preventing injuries as well as a runner. And you'll also become a better, more efficient, stronger runner, which win-win, right? First up is what I call the undisputed king of exercises for runners. It is the kettlebell swing. Seriously, if I could only do one strength move for the rest of my life and have you do the same thing, this would probably be it. It's pure power, endurance, and posterior chain development all rolled up into one neat little package, and it will really change your running. Okay, I want to be clear on something. The kettlebell swing is not a squat, and it's not an arm exercise. It is an explosive hip hinge, and that powerful hip hinge is the exact same movement that generates power in your running stride. That explosive forward drive that you need, it comes from your hips, powered by your glutes and hamstring. And the swing trains this exact motion. It teaches you to generate massive power from your hips. This translates to a stronger push-off and more speed for less effort. And that's what coaches mean when they talk about improving running economy. On top of that, the swing is a full body ballistic movement. It strengthens your glutes, your hamstrings, your core, your lats. Everything that matters. The explosive pop of the swing targets your fast twitch muscle fibers, which are your speed fibers. Even if you're a marathoner though, developing these gives you that extra gear for a finishing kick or for powering up a hill. So we need our fast twitch muscles even as slow twitch endurance runners. And lastly, the swing builds incredible core stability. As that bell flies forward, your abs have to brace hard to keep your torso stable, which improves your running posture and fights off fatigue on long runs. This is what we call an anti-rotational and a stabilizing type of core exercise that benefits the core in a functional way more than what sit-ups or crunches or something like that does. Similar to a plank, but this is more of an active movement than just a static hold like the plank. Okay. Proper form though is everything here. No shortcuts, and we'll go through exactly how to do this correctly and where to start. Okay, what you're gonna do is to set up, you're gonna place the kettlebell on the floor about a foot in front of you, stand with your feet a bit wider than your hips, then you're going to hinge at your hips, shove your butt straight back like you're trying to tap a wall behind you, but don't be in front of a wall. Your back must stay perfectly flat, like a tabletop. Your knees will bend slightly, but you are not squatting. You should feel a slight stretch in your hamstrings. It's a hinge, kind of like a deadlift. You are hinging at the hips, not squatting down to pick something up. Step number 2 is the hike. You're gonna reach down, grab the handle, tilt it back towards you. Now hike it back between your legs like you're snapping a football. Be aggressive with this. The bell should go high up into the groin area. This loads your hamstrings and glutes like a slingshot to swing the bell forward next. Okay, and then finally is the hip snap. The moment the bell starts to swing forward, you have to explosively snap your hips forward, squeeze your glutes as hard as you can, and think about launching the kettlebell across the room using only your hips. This is not an arm movement. At the top, your body should be in a rigid, mostly vertical plank. Your arms, though, should be relaxed. You are using momentum in your hips to swing the bell forward, not lifting it with your arms. So the power from your hips alone should float the kettlebell to about chest height. Again, your arms are just ropes. They are not lifting anything. Then once the kettlebell hits the top, let gravity do the work. Guide it back down in between your legs for the next rep, absorbing the force by hinging at the hips again and having a slight bend in your knee. Okay, common mistakes to avoid when you're doing the kettlebell swing. There's a few of them, and I see them a lot, and it's something that I train on. Again, squatting the swing. The number one mistake, people bend their knees way too much. Remember, it's a horizontal push with the hips, not a vertical lift from the legs. Your shins should stay pretty much vertical up and down. Number 2, using your arms. If your arms and shoulders are sore, after doing the swing, you're doing it wrong. The power is from your hips, so relax your arms. Number 3 is rounding your back. A rounded lower back it's functional. Our back should be able to round. But for this, we want the focus to be in our glutes and in our hips. And so we want to keep things nice and straight and practice that hinge without the weight first to make sure we're hinging and not rounding our back. Number 4 is don't lean back at the top. Don't arch your back at the top of the swing. You're squeezing your glutes and bracing your abs to form a rock solid plank. A lot of times what I see is people squeeze their glutes and arch way back to get that glute squeeze. That's not necessary, and it kind of messes up your form, and it will also really make the swing more difficult to do. So when you do these in a workout, we're going for power and endurance with these exercises. So you want to start with 3 to 5 sets of 10 to 20 explosive swings. Make every rep count and pop. Rest for 60 to 90 seconds between sets, fully recover, and add this exercise in twice a week. Add it to your strength training. Now, if you don't have a strength training program and you want a little bit more guidance, I'm going to add my beginner, and I call it a beginner workout, a beginner runner's workout for kettlebells, because even if you're a seasoned with doing strength training and a seasoned runner, kettlebells are different. Like I said before, they're ballistic. They are not stable in any way just by the nature of them. So if you aren't used to using kettlebells, then you're a beginner when it comes to this. The workouts aren't necessarily easy, but they're building the foundation. Maybe I should rename it. Maybe it'll be Foundations of Kettlebell Training for Runners. And it's really where you need to start. And it's an 8-week program. I've made it super affordable, but that'll be linked down below also. Okay, if the swing builds your engine, the goblet squat builds your frame. It's the master of foundational strength and good posture. A lot of runners skip squats, worried about getting bulky legs and running slower. That's a myth. The goblet squat, any squat, isn't about building massive legs. It's about creating a strong, stable foundation that protects your joints and keeps your form from falling apart when you're tired. The magic is in how you hold the weight, though, for the goblet squat. Holding the kettlebell at your chest does 2 incredible things. First, it forces your core to work like crazy to keep you upright. The weight wants to pull you forward, and your core has to fight back. This builds the exact strength you need to prevent that late race runner's slouch, which kills your efficiency. Second, the kettlebell acts as a counterbalance, which lets most people squat deeper and with better form. This extra depth improves your mobility in your hips and ankles, which are 2 spots that are always tight on runners. By strengthening your quads and glutes through this full range of motion, you're essentially building armor around your knees and hips to prevent injury. This is your secret weapon for bombing down hills and climbing hills strongly. Plus, it helps prevent injuries because you're building that strength in your hips and knees. Now, keep in mind, this is a deep squat. You're going to want to do the depth that you're able to do at this point in time, what your mobility allows. So keep that in mind as I'm going through and kind of describing how to do this goblet squat. Okay, so you're gonna pick up the kettlebell by the horns, the sides of the handle, and flip it over and hold it tight against your chest. Keep your elbows tucked in. You don't want chicken wings. So you're gonna stand with your feet shoulder width apart, toes pointed forward and slightly out, whatever feels natural to you, but you really wanna try to keep them neutral as you can, pointing forward, but everyone's a little bit different on how their hips and shoulders or hips and knees and feet are rotated, so there's not a perfect way. You're gonna take a deep, big breath and brace your core and start to move by sending your hips back and down at the same time like you're sitting in a chair. Keep your chest up and look forward. You are bending your knees on this one. More so, it's a squat. You're bending your knees and squatting down versus the swing where you're hinging at your hips with just a slight knee bend. You want to go as deep as you can while keeping your back flat, aiming for at least thighs parallel to the floor. And that might be your starting point. Your elbows should end up on the inside of your knees, and you can even use them to gently push your knees out to get a little bit more mobility. But go as deep as you can. You're not going to necessarily be able to go as deep as I can if your mobility is lacking, but there are people that can go better than I can, and just do what feels great for you, but remember to go as deep as you can. You also might want to put a bench or a box behind you to use it as a box squat to get the depth. So then when you're going to drive through your whole foot and think about pushing the floor away from you to go up, lead with your chest, not with your hips, and stand up tall, squeezing your glutes at the top. Again, don't arch your back. All right, some common mistakes to avoid with the goblet squat. Letting your chest drop. The most common error that I see with this is as you get tired, the weight will try to fold you over. You want to fight it. Think about keeping the logo on your shirt pointed at the ceiling. That's an exaggeration, but that's the thought process there. Mistake number 2 is your knees caving in. If your knees buckle inward at any point, it's a sign that your glutes aren't strong enough and you need to work on some more hip strength. Think about spread the floor and with your hips and your knees tracking over your toes. Mistake number 3 is your hips rising first. Don't let your butt shoot up before your chest. This puts a lot of strain on your low back and it's not designed. It's an exercise and it's good for you to do, but this isn't what this is designed to do. Lift with your chest and your shoulders first. Next is lifting your heels. If your heels come up, it's probably tight ankles. As a temporary fix, you can put a small plate or book under your heels while you work on your ankle mobility, or just don't go quite as deep into the squat so you can keep the range of motion. That's usually what limits a lot of people with going deep is their ankle mobility and their heels coming up. I don't want you going up on your toes. So the goal here with the goblet squat is strength. You want to do 3 sets of 8 to 12 slow controlled reps. Quality over quantity always. Rest for 90 seconds between sets so you fully recover and you can really work on the strength. Okay, so we've covered the explosive power and your foundational strength. If this is making sense and you're ready to build a more resilient runner's body, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. And make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because our third and final move is arguably the most important one for stopping those nagging injuries before they start. You don't want to miss it. So if this resonated with you and you want to go a step forward, I have that beginner's kettlebell 8-week strength program designed specifically for runners that I'll link below. I want this to be accessible for everyone, so I've priced it low to get everyone started ASAP. All right, final move is the single leg deadlift or SLDL. If the swing is your engine and the squat is your frame, the single leg deadlift is your alignment. This is the ultimate injury prevention move because it attacks the fundamental reality of our sport. Running is a one-legged sport. You're just hopping from one foot to another. And I know that sounds like a funny description, but that's exactly what it is. If you aren't training on one leg, you're leaving a huge hole in your running armor and you're setting yourself up for injury. The single leg deadlift is a master move in building single leg strength and stability. By training one leg at a time, you immediately expose and fix any muscle imbalances between your left and right side, which are often the secret cause and common cause of nagging injuries and overuse injuries. This move really helps build stability from the ground up. When you're balancing, the tiny muscles in your foot and ankle are working to keep you steady. The glute on your standing leg has to fire constantly to keep your pelvis from dropping. A weak glute here is the main reason people get IT band syndrome and runner's knee. The single leg deadlift teaches your body to stay stable on one leg. It's the single most important skill for a safe and efficient running stride because, again, it's bunch of hops on one leg over and over again. Finally, the single leg deadlift is amazing hamstring and glute strengthener. It builds the kind of durable strength that helps prevent strains and tears in your hamstrings. So how to do it? This move is all about balance and control. So start with no weight, and you can even use like a broomstick handle or a dowel rod or something on your back to practice the hinge movement. And this will also help your kettlebell swing as well. So to set up, you're going to stand on your right leg with a soft bend in your knee, hold the kettlebell in your left hand, opposite hand of the standing leg. This helps keep your hips from twisting. There is benefit to doing the same hand, but I prefer this opposite side just because it helps with the stability and balance a little bit more, and it really engages your full cross-body rotational type of movement. So then keeping your back perfectly straight, start to hinge forward at your right hip. As you lean forward, let your left leg go straight back behind you for balance. It's a counterweight. Your body should be one straight line from your head to your left heel, pivoting over your right hip. When you get to the bottom, you're going to hinge down until your chest is almost parallel to the floor. Keep your hips squared. Don't let the left hip open up toward the ceiling. You should feel a deep stretch in your right hamstring and your right glute is firing hard. To come back up, drive your right foot into the floor and squeeze your right glute. Pull yourself back up to the start with total control. All right, common mistakes to avoid in the single leg deadlift. Bending instead of hinging. Don't just round your back to reach the floor, same as the swing. The movement has to come from the hip. Keep your spine long and straight. Number 2 is opening the hips. The most common mistake is people let the hip of the back leg fly open, opening up like that. So to fix this, think about keeping the toes of your back foot pointing straight down at the floor. Number 3 is losing balance. This move is tough and it challenges your balance. Don't be afraid to hold onto a wall for support with your free hand. You can also do a kickstand version, keeping the toes of your back foot lightly on the floor for support until you get that hip stability that you need to do this full movement. Okay, so this is a control exercise. You're going to do 3 sets of 8 to 10 slow, deliberate reps on each leg. Really focus on keeping your hips level and then rest for 60 seconds between legs and between legs. Okay, so we've got the 3 moves. How do you fit this into your week without wrecking your runs? That's what I hear from runners all the time. I don't want to start strength training because I'm going to get sore and I'm not going to be able to run and it's going to ruin my runs. It'll take time, but usually after a week or 2, you're going to be fine. I like kettlebell training because you can add it in slowly and not completely feel wrecked for your runs. So the goal is to lift 1 to 2 times per week. Do these exercises or these workouts on your easy run days or your cross-train days, and this is critical. Avoid doing this workout the day before a long run or a hard speed session. Give your legs a day to rest and recover. So here's a simple Bulletproof runner workout using these exercises and some other ones. You're going to warm up and it's going to take about 5 minutes. I like 5-minute warm-ups, whether it be for running or for this strength training workout. But for a warm-up, since we're going to do specifically for this exercise, I want you to start with some 15 reps of body weight squats, nice and easy air squats. Then you're going to do leg swings forward and back, side to side, 10 on each leg. And then finally do the cat-cow, do 10 reps of the cat-cow to really kind of loosen up the hips and the spine. 5 minutes, less than that maybe, kind of depends. I tend to do about 3 minutes for that one, but a warm-up is crucial, and that's actually a really good warm-up also to do before runs if you need some advice there. Okay, so then the main chunk of the workout after the warm-up is you're going to start with the kettlebell swings. Do 4 sets of 15 reps, resting 60 seconds between each set. Then after the 4 sets are done, rest for another 1.5 to 2 minutes. Next, goblet squats, 3 sets of 10 controlled reps, rest 90 seconds to 2 minutes after the 3 sets. Then finally do 3 sets of 8 reps per leg of the single leg deadlift and rest 60 seconds between reps or sets. That's it. The whole thing takes maybe 20 minutes to do, and it hits everything we talked about that are important for leg strength for runners: power, core stability, and single leg strength. Now, when it comes to picking a weight, your ego, my ego, is not your friend. Start lighter than what you think you need. For swings, it should be heavy enough that you feel you have to use your hips and not your arms. For the squats and deadlifts, pick a weight where the last couple of reps are tough, but your form is still spot on. Also, if you're needing to get your first kettlebell, I've linked my favorite in the description below. It is affordable and it's a competition style, which basically means they are the same size, same dimensions of bell, no matter what they weigh, which makes this easier, all of these easier, because then you're not having to adjust based on what size and shape it is. It really is a game changer when it comes to kettlebell training. But get what you can, get the type that you can, get what you can afford. That's what's great about kettlebell training, is that it doesn't require a lot of equipment. Usually 1 or 2 kettlebells and you're great, and you really only need 1 of each weight for the most part. So, like I've said before, being a runner doesn't mean that you're always managing some type of ache or pain. It's time to just stop putting up with it and the miles and start actually building a body that's actually built for them, and time to get strong. Don't just run. We can't just run. And as adults over 35, we need to do more than run, because our bodies need a lot more. So these 3 kettlebell moves, the explosive swing, the foundational goblet squat, and the stabilizing single leg deadlift, are your blueprint for a good strength training program for runners. They aren't random exercises. They are specific fixes for the most common weaknesses that hold runners back that I see in the clinic over and over again. They build your engine, they strengthen your frame, and they dial in your alignment to keep you injury-free. But something that I've talked about runners with all my runners is none of this works without consistency. Weaving this short routine into your week will do more for your running long-term than any gadget or any pair of shoes. You'll become more powerful, you'll hold your form longer, and you'll build that resilient, bulletproof body. You will finally break that frustrating injury cycle and see what you're really capable of as a runner. Thanks for watching. Now go get strong. What is your biggest goal, running goal this year? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. And for more content that makes you a stronger, healthier athlete, be sure to check out my other videos right here on this channel. And again, don't forget about those links that I've included down below for programs and coaching with me.